This is a descent into madness more than it is a movie review.
Don't say it! Don't think it! Don't say it! Don't think it! Don't say it!
No.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and everyone watching. Today we are going to be talking about the worst horror movie ever. Now I do have some explaining to do on why my opinion is actually fact.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
And if you disagree, you're objectively wrong. But before we jump into that, if you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, it's good to see you again. Alright, let's get into it. Firstly, I'd like to point out that being cynical and just harsh on artists' work is not the reason I make videos. So if you're clicking on this video and you like it, and then you expect to see more of it, sorry. I usually don't find degrading another person's work that much fun. At least for videos. With my friends, I joke about bad movies all the time. And that's what we're going to be doing today. I love cynical movie reviews, and just cynical people in general. Plus, it usually gets more views on YouTube. But that's created a lot of YouTubers who are just cynical, and that's their whole, shtick. Which is perfectly fine and dandy. But again, that's not this channel, and if you're looking to scratch that itch, there's going to be a ton of other channels on YouTube to go find. But I'd like to be more positive.
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows.
Because the world is shit. Alright, with that out of the way, you might be thinking, Positive Potter over here must really hate this movie if he's gonna make a whole video about it. Oh, you weren't thinking that? Okay, that's fine. Don't play along. We don't have to do that. Well, it's time to get into the movie review. I'm gonna talk about the budget, director, all that stuff later at the end of the movie. I want you to experience the way I experienced it. Only you're not, spending money on it like I did. And you're also wasting however long this video is instead of the hour and a half of horrible movie. But I guarantee you I am more entertaining than this movie. And if I'm not, I'm sorry. Like, I genuinely am. And I am full of self-deprecation. So if I'm confident about something, you know I'm right. That's how that works. Alright, well grab a snack because we're about to hop into this horseshit. The Bye-Bye Man. The Bye-Bye Man's opening is one of the most enjoyable scenes in horror. Well, enjoyable in a terrifying way. And you would think it sets the stage for the rest of the movie. It doesn't. The horror in the opening scene is simple and effective. It looks like it's in the 70s in the American dream. There's a white picket fence, everyone's shirts are tucked in, and the color grading is all fun and vibrant. So you know that means it's either a different timeline or an area, because that's just how movies work. Anyway, this astute gentleman... Oh, hey, just heads up, most men in this timeline usually beat their wives for no reason. Just thought I should throw that out there. This man, as any normal man from the 70s, goes on a murdering spree. Now, he is clearly paranoid about something. He keeps asking about a name.
Did you tell anyone?
Did I?
About the name.
Oh, yeah, I told Rick. He thought it was funny.
Rick is the guy in the wheelchair. Hopefully nothing bad happens to him. Oh, looks like that astute gentleman is going to get something from his car. Is that a gun? Yeah, so this man just guns down his family. But before doing so completely, he asks Rick if he shared the name with anyone else. Which Rick tells the truth, which I would have lied just there. I just been like, you know what? Fine, it's over. You ain't getting no information out of me.
Guns don't kill people, the government does.
The man finishes off Rick, and then he proceeds to the neighbor's house. And before we see that carnage, the movie cuts to the title screen. And we find out that name that man was so worried about. That scary, spooky name is Bye-Bye Man? Is that right? That's scary, right? The Bye-Bye Man. Just call me the Poo-Poo Man. And I bet you can't guess why. Now the movie only goes downhill from here. So if you wanted to enjoy a movie experience, stop watching. The movie fast forwards, and we get introduced to our young cast. And these guys are obviously just cattle for the Bye-Bye Man. The only problem is it takes a long time to do that, which means we have to stay with these characters, which you are going to learn to hate, because I will make you hate them. I'm getting ahead of myself. First we meet Elliot, John, and Sasha, as they get to a house that they can room in for college. And man oh man, you guys are going to love this acting, I swear.
I've definitely seen bigger.
See? You're awesome. Bro.
Now, full transparency, I can't act, I can't direct, I can't do any of this that the movie makers are doing. The only thing is, that's not my job. So I do expect some level of standard when watching a horror movie, especially a big screen horror movie. Like, you're on the big screen for a reason. Which leads me to a caveat before I just start shitting on these actors. I can't tell if it's just the acting or if it's the writing. We'll see later on when we go through the cast and director that the cast is actually pretty good. They've won awards and been nominated for many things. So I think it's mainly the writing, but you'll be the judge of that shortly.
Hey, he made me look smart, and I made him look ugly. But after the crash, he took care of me. Talk shit about my boys, folks, you're done.
Regardless, these characters are just unbearably annoying. To the point where you're just honestly begging for them to shut up and, you know. And to any aspiring directors out there, if your movie mainly contains characters and characters talking to each other and building off relationships, make sure those characters aren't fucking annoying. And by fucking annoying, with this movie specifically, I mean, they're not weird, they don't stare at each other awkwardly for way too long.
I see she approves, huh?
And their character traits don't consist of horny.
This is perfect. Oh, easy. You alright?
Ladies, alright?
Horny and horny.
Know what I'm thinking.
Yes. I might just do that.
John's dialogue is so much fun.
Why, I never cooked you my butter pasta and eggs?
That is not a thing.
That's because I invented it.
Okay.
Specifically when John and Sasha are interacting, and these are the first characters we see interacting with each other. So at first, I thought these guys were dating because of things they said like this.
So you are clean and beautiful.
But nope, they're not the couple in this situation. It's actually Elliot and John. This movie's actually very progressive. It's not. It's Elliot and Sasha. Even though it's technically going to be... You'll see that it's going to be Elliot, Sasha, and John. Right from the start, it is pretty obvious that John and Sasha are shebanging, and Elliot isn't... He's either not aware, or he's just being Travis Hunter.
And he would literally drive me, sit outside for hours while I'm inside, like, partying, and then take us home. Like,
don't save her, she don't wanna be saved.
Either way, it's not good, but it's pretty obvious that they're, you know, having an affair. At least it seems like to me. John's character trait is pretty much just a fuckboy. And that's fine, but the only problem is it's kind of weird when you see a fully grown man say things like this.
Loosen up the grip a little bit. I'm trying to concentrate on my breathing.
Now, I might be alone on feeling this way about John, but it just genuinely feels like his dialogue was written by some 50-year-old man. And as he was proofreading it, he was like, yeah, this guy fucks. It's like, no man, this guy just seems like he's cringy. And I understand that they're going for a fuckboy, and for the older generations, a player. And it might just be my bias against those type of people because my high school is just full of them. And I just loved hearing them talk about other people so much and how they respected people. But I guarantee you, if you attempt to watch this movie like without me just complaining, you know, just here randomly, you are gonna get so pissed off with John that you either might stop watching, because I had to a couple of times, or you're just gonna skip to the end. Spoilers alert, but it doesn't matter because this movie sucks. Anyway, after wishing for John's death 12 minutes within the film, the movie proceeds to show us the creepy house that they all got. And it's very creepy, it's making weird noises. Ooh.
This is my own private domicile and I will not be harassed! Bitch!
But with this housing market, like, I mean, can you blame them? Get what you can. The three college students do what three college students always do in movies. Throw a party with alcohol and a bunch of random people that we never get introduced to. However, some people that we do get introduced to is Elliot's brother, Virgil. What seems to be a 45-year-old man who's bringing booze to a college party with his daughter and his wife. Because that's totally normal. In this party, we see more of John and Sasha, again, not a couple, doing things like this. And Elliot's denying that, you know, he's getting cheated on to Virgil.
Jesus, it's a good thing you're not jealous. It is good.
Which is going to be a running theme, just Elliot denying that he's getting cheating on for like the whole movie, and it's so fun to watch. And hey, fellas, come here. Come here. If your lady ever dances with another man, especially in front of you, not your lady. I'm sorry that we had to have that talk, but it's better Better to do that than to be like Sneeko.
Saw her. I've seen her fuck other men, and it's just like that was.
Seen it?
That's a cuck reference, and if you don't know what a cuck is, it's someone who likes to sit and watch. I think that's good enough. Anyway, we watch more throughout this party, and we see that Virgil's daughter goes upstairs and just adventures around like a little kid does. And this is where it brings me to my second main complaint about this movie. Right now in my review, we're roughly 20 minutes into this dog shit, and there's been 5 fake out scares already.
Oh, great heaven!
And now that's fine, because fake out scares build up suspense. It creates that tension that you need. But my point with these fake out scares is when Virgil's daughter goes upstairs to go roaming around and starts checking out weird things related to the Bye Bye Man, there's a couple of shots where they just zoom in on the character and music builds up, and then nothing happens. In an example, and I can just show you, but I'll do it like with her. As the little girl walks into the room, the music pans, and it sounds like a jump scare's about to happen. And then she walks near a drawer, picks up a coin, and as she's looking at it, the camera zooms in. What she does, she goes back over here. It does it again. Music builds up to nothing. She comes back over here, and then she looks at the coin again, and it does the same thing. That's 3 fake out scares within like 30 seconds. What the fuck are we doing? Coins will come up later. It's a big point in the movie. Well, they wanted it to be a big point in the movie. It's just, this whole thing's a laughing stock. I dropped my coin. Anyway, the party goes on. The little girl goes back downstairs. Virgil finally leaves with his old ass. And Elliot goes back upstairs and checks out the coin that the little girl was checking out. And then he puts it in the drawer. Why am I saying this? It's because it's important to the movie, even though it's stupid. And here's where we find a phrase that was constantly shown in the trailer, and we're gonna hear all throughout the movie, and it never once actually gets like scary.
Think it, don't say it. Don't 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 say it, don't think it.
Because I don't think I need to tell you that the Bye Bye Man isn't the scariest name out there. So whenever the movie shows the name the Bye Bye Man or says it, the movie itself wants you to be scared, so it adds scary music to it. But to me that does the opposite effect. It's like adding scary music to Elmo. It makes it more funny. Oh hey, don't forget, 21 minutes into the movie, no scares yet. In a horror movie. Now this college party continues, and as college kids always do, they go outside to play baseball in the freezing cold temperatures. I didn't go to college parties, so I actually don't know, because that was not my forte. Bunch of sweaty frat dudes, and this is where we get introduced to our main final character within our little teen group. It's Kim, who's burning sage because she feels a bad presence. And John, like mentioned as being a fuckboy, openly flirts with her, with John's main motivation of getting his noodle wet.
Know what I'm thinking?
I might just do that.
Yeah. You are psychic.
Oh, bro.
Meanwhile, Kim brings up how she's a psychic, and she truly believes that, which she has merit later on in the movie. But I want you to know, if you're watching this and you believe you're psychic, that this is a movie. And to everyone else watching this, if you've ever known someone who actually believes that they're psychic and knows things that other people don't, they're usually a bit douchey, a bit condescending. I think it's a nicer word to say there. And they talk in a manner where it's like they're better than you because they know they have the force.
Anger's not the way of the jet.
And Kim talks like that. That's why I'm bringing this up.
Elliot, you can go ahead and live a sheltered, shallow, physical existence.
And it's just more bad, weird conversations. Whenever I listen to these guys talk to each other and interact with each other, I just felt uncomfortable. But all the talk from Kim about how she's a psychic leads them to do a seance. You know what I usually do? I walk into a room that's supposedly haunted and be like, "What's up, ghosts? Do you know you're dead? Because you are." And so far I've never been like killed by a ghost. We get more of Elliot's character throughout this seance, and he's just a dick.
So if nothing happens, I should believe because it means you got rid of the spirit? What?
We all know you don't believe in the stuff, okay? But Can you just please let her do it?
Right. Sorry. No being rational. I
Like, this is his first introduction to Kim. They only know each other for a couple hours, and he just starts saying that all that she believes in is bullshit. It's like if I met someone and they said that they were religious, and I was just like, I think you believe in bullshit. And then I expect that relationship to be like, okay, like we're gonna continue friends after I just like insulted what you believed in without knowing you. No. But this is a movie written by like people who don't know how like friend groups work. So they continue with the seance with Elliot just constantly making petty ass remarks. And we soon realize that like all four of these main characters are just so unlikable. All for differing reasons. Well, Sasha and John are pretty close for the same reason.
Oh, you touch my tra-la-la.
But it's like the writers grabbed everything that made a narcissist and pulled it apart and put it in each of the characters. Elliot can't for the life of him see that, hey, maybe someone else has a different perspective. Kim is just burning sage, which, don't do that in my house. I don't know you. But that's not the main thing. It's mainly the way she talks. It's just full of nihilism.
I know your parents died in a crash.
Although I have to say she's the most likable, unlikable character in this movie. And then you got John and Sasha, who should just be dating each other instead of dragging Elliot along for, like, I don't know why. Because Elliot and Sasha just, like, they just seem to hate each other so much. And then also, Sasha just gets bronchitis at one point in the movie. I think I'm jumping way ahead, but I just wanted to say that.
Bless you.
Suck my wiggly dick!
I hope I'm getting through to you guys how painful it is just to watch these four characters interact with each other, because that's the main part of this movie. Seance, witchcraft, yada yada. The scene goes on for like 10 minutes with nothing interesting happening. It's the normal scares you get from a seance, like, oh, the lights are out, oh, loud noise, ooh, I'm shaking.
Don't say it, don't think it, don't Oh my god.
But with the seance scene, it shows that like Kim actually does have some powers. It's like the whole seance scene is just to prove that. 10 minutes of scene to say, yep, Kim isn't bullshitting. The way we know this is Elliot, being a dick, goes and hides keys in the pot, and then comes back and says, alright Kim, where is it? Which I guess is fair to do, but the way he talks to Kim, it's like, dude, calm down.
What I hide, where'd I hide it? Oh, come on. Come on,
Elliot.
it's crazy.
Buddy, you're a boy, make a big...
But also, Kim guessed it right. You know something about seances though, is they usually end up bad. And it leads to Kim acting all befuddled and saying the phrase of the movie.
Don't think it, don't say it, don't think it, don't say it, don't think it, don't say it, don't think it!
And John, being an airhead, asks,
Don't say or think what?
shut up, dude. And you want to know something even funnier? Elliot, being even dumber, says the name.
Bye-bye, man.
We did it, ladies and gentlemen. Horrible decision making in horror movies 101. Make your characters stupid as shit so your audience roots for them to die. And then don't let them die until an hour and a half into the movie. Spoilers, an hour and a half into the movie. So we have to watch these guys just interact with each other for so long. Okay, let's get back to the fun things about horror. Getting scared. If you count the lights getting turned off and a loud noise as a scare, then the first scare comes in the movie at 26 minutes and 20 seconds into it. But luckily within the next minute, we get something that's actually good. The opening scene was good, and then we had to wait like 24 minutes, and now we're getting into something good again. It's just for a little, like a couple seconds, but we gotta take what we get, right? It's this play on the shadows, where you see the Bye-Bye Man, but he's pretty well hidden within the shadows, but not enough where you can tell that there's something there. Wait, what was that? Yeah, Elliot, go check it out. And do not look behind you. Another part that I actually enjoyed in the movie, I like when bad guys are behind you and you just don't look. It's a Scream reference.
Oh, there he is. I told you he's right around the corner.
Just throw that clip in. Don't even add this part. You stupid fucking idiot. I'm talking to myself, not you guys.
Do you know what self-love is?
You thought I was gonna say, son of a bitch.
Now, any guesses on who this fella is? That's right, it's the Bye-Bye Man. Big spooky Bye-Bye Man. And as we're learning, the Bye-Bye Man can distort the audio, from making house creaks, to screams, to just weird distortion in general. Another build-up moment of suspense for nothing. Not as bad as before because we get to see some of the demon, but still. That scene gets followed by the next day where we get more cringy interactions between the main characters, specifically with John and Kim, where John offers to take Kim home. And John forgot his only characteristic in the whole movie so far. Sex. Because Kim asks, "Hey John, you want to go upstairs? My roommate's not there." Which, that's a green light, by the way, boys. And he says no. Which, dude, what, like, what? Who are you, John?
We could try again. These things happen, right?
Now that might have been a good decision from Dickmeister over there. Because Kim, for some reason, has maggots coming out of her eye and hair.
Jesus.
This scene was also famously shown in the trailers. And again, it's like one of the only like good scares in the movie. But even then, looking back on this, like watching it through my monitor, I can tell that these maggots aren't that really well done. Not so much the one in the eye. The one in the eye looks pretty good. But the one in the hair, they just like randomly just burst out. Which I guess that's how that would work, but still, obviously it's CGI, and we don't want real maggots on actor Jenna Cannell, who's also in the Terrifier series, if you hadn't already commented that, but we love her here. However, the Bye Bye Man had a budget of roughly $6 to $7.5 million, so you would think that there could have been some better CGI there. But don't worry, there's going to be worse CGI animals in this movie. Now back to the movie. Instead of John explaining what he just saw from, his point of view of Kim, he just awkwardly tells Kim to get out and then kind of forcefully tells her, like, get the fuck out of my car, and then drives away. Real smooth, dude. As John comes back home, Elliot notices some scratches on Brick, and he points it out to John, and John says this.
They were already there, right? No. Like, it was Colin or one of those douches from last night.
I hate this guy so much. And then he just goes into the house to Sasha, Elliot's girlfriend, and says this.
So you are clean and beautiful. It's nice.
While I did cut this up, so like I want to get copyrighted, this is how that went. Like there's no context before that. He just says that. That's weird. It doesn't make any sense. Like even Sasha's dumb character realizes like that this doesn't make sense. This is a weird interaction because you just said a sentence that I don't like, what? It's like this. The crows are feeding on the pig. And then I just left. And I understand if like John is currently under the spell of the Bye Bye Man. But like, okay, then let's blame the Bye Bye Man. What are you trying to say there? I mentioned earlier, it's just a weird dynamic between these friends. Like, none of them actually like each other. And I would have believed it more that the Bye Bye Man was controlling these guys and just making them angrier. Because they literally spell that out later in the movie. Like, Elliot says that. Which you can't just say that at the end of the movie to explain all of this. Because beforehand, their interactions were still weird. Like, they didn't merge well with each other. So now them being even more weird, it's like, is this just them? Or is this the Bye Bye Man? Like, this friend group would never exist in real life because they'd probably kill each other. And I think that's why the characters are just so jarring to me. Anyway, more amazing acting. But ruh-roh, Raggy.
Raggy, where are my resticles?
Now Sasha is seeing things just like John did. But instead of maggots, Sasha is seeing John naked. Because why not? Why?
Fuck yeah.
Now another problem with this movie that I think you notice with this scene particularly is it just stays on characters way too long. You probably get the sense beforehand, which is why all the interactions feel just a bit weird because they'll say something like this and then pick up the sentence after a weirdly long pause. If I was talking to you in real life and I said that sentence just like that, please call an ambulance for me. Like, I get your point, Bye Bye Man. She's hallucinating her boyfriend's best friend naked, which is a problem. And then it cuts to some weird ass edits. It's just so weird, and it will get even worse later on in the film. And I want to say that I understand, and I hope that you understand that the reason it's edited this way, well, I'd like to hope that the reason it's edited this way is to show that the Bye Bye Man has some sort of control over the environments and what's going on in reality, and just altering reality. But the edits are just not done well. it's hard to keep up with like, oh, this is not real, or oh, this is real and just bad. But anyway, the story proceeds and we find out that Sasha is coming down with a sickness. It's that bronchitis I brought up earlier. It's not bronchitis, but no, she's coming down with the case of cheating girlfriend. Tensions between the friend group are rising, and I wonder why. And Elliot continues to hear these weird noises and mindlessly stumbles throughout the house for a couple of minutes until this happens. Oh boy, another coin. Now I got 2 coins. Whoa-wee. I wonder if that's some sort of sign for whenever the bad guy shows up with his influence, that a coin just shows up, or the noise of a coin going like... I wonder if that's a sign. That'd be very clever of the movie writers to do that. Very, very clever indeed. Because I'm a big dumb idiot. Alright, you ready for another scary thing to happen almost 10 minutes after the last scary thing to happen? Cool, me too. Elliot runs away, still mindlessly stumbling around, but he's saved by his bestest of friends, John, and loyal Sasha. Now the reason I keep bringing up the cheating and unloyalty, and I know it might be getting annoying, but that's like the whole theme of this movie. I think the writers for this movie got cheated on, and instead of going to a therapist, they just wrote a movie. It's so weird because the only way that the movie feels like it can build tension between the group of a boyfriend and a girlfriend and a best friend is just to have them constantly have sex with each other. It's like, do you know how like real friend groups work and how actual tensions... And to further my point, after Elliot gets spooked, they go right back to talking about how he thinks that they're cheating on him.
What were you doing? Studying, talking. You didn't
We
hear
weren't
me.
doing anything.
You didn't hear me.
Now Sasha and John deny it, even though... Like, you saw them dancing together, dude. What? Like, this was before the Bye Bye Man even showed up.
Elliot, for the last time, bro. We wouldn't do that to you.
Why are you lying to me?
We're not.
Jesus Christ.
There was something happening. Now, do you believe me?
Don't worry, okay? What are you doing? Don't do that. Don't do what? Don't.
Elliot.
You want to see some amazing cinematography?
Don't touch her.
You are crazy paranoid, bro.
The movie then starts to explain the coins and the meaning behind them because the movie genuinely thinks the audience is dumb. And what sucks is this trope could have worked with having a coin making a noise, and having that idea throughout the movie would have worked. But in the Bye Bye Man, when this gets explained, it's just a conversation full of exposition dump. And there's a couple of these type of conversations where Elliot or one of the main characters finds another character, some side character, and the side character just gives them all this lore about the Bye Bye Man. What's going on here? Why couldn't you just show me this instead of telling me this? Like, why'd you show me the weird relationship with the friends instead of showing me why the Bye Bye Man started using his coins? Why couldn't you show me how the Bye Bye Man uses the coins as his eyes? Which is cool because that's what they used to do with dead people. But they don't even explain that well. I had to look that up because all the movie explains is that the coin signifies that the Bye Bye Man is near. It literally tells you that. But if you look it up, it refers to the Bye Bye Man and this is his way of seeing. That is a cool concept. Where the hell was it? Now mind you, this conversation is at like the 40-minute mark. And what's weird with this conversation is nowhere beforehand in the 40 minutes previous did they talk about how the Bye Bye Man was affecting them. They were just beefing with each other, and then all of a sudden they just come to the conclusion that yep, it's the Bye Bye Man who's affecting us. Besides these drawings from Sasha that she shows Elliot, they don't interact with each other about their own experiences until this conversation, and then all of a sudden, all the clues just fall into place. That seems really convenient, writers. Very convenient indeed. It's almost as if your story didn't make any sense, so you had to jumble it all together. My point with my anger towards this conversation and how our main characters just randomly found out is that these guys haven't shown us any signs that they're smart, that they would just figure this out on the dime. I believe that Batman would figure it out. Not John. And to top it all off, look how stupid this is. What the That will kind of make sense later, but something that doesn't is this.
Smoking big doinks and Amish.
So, a train does kill someone in this movie, and all throughout, it's been like foreshadowing that a train is going to be apparent in the movie. It's not good foreshadowing, but it's foreshadowing. But the thing is, these three naked people on the railroad, I have no idea who they are, what they're doing, or like anything. I mean, I guess it's a cool shot, and it's kind of scary because you don't expect three naked people on a railroad, but it's just so random. Like, why? Now, our next scare in the movie is another play on the shadows, which, yeah, admittedly is getting kind of tiring. It shows these weird eyes in the shadows, in this little room that they have, because they have a door that's just the size of an Oompa Loompa. And it doesn't get explained, you just kind of have to assume why it's there at the end of the movie. And that little door is what Elliot's looking into, which is where he sees those eyes, the CGI eyes. For this next scare is probably going to be the last highlight of the movie. It's this particular jump scare that's working off the robe. Now, we've seen the robe before, although it hasn't really done anything other than noticing that something's off about it. But this time, however... This scare felt much more earned than all of the other scares in the movie so far, because we've built up to this. We've seen that robe, we've seen the demon interact with the robe, but not like to this extent. And now he just full on balls to the walls goes out. It's cool, it's fun, it's earned. It's crazy how a little bit of effort can make a viewer actually enjoy your movie. Now, in usual horror fashion, when a demon entity is haunting a person, only one person gets to see it. So Elliot sees certain things, Sasha sees certain things, and John sees certain things, but none of them see the other ones. And I bring that up because for like the next couple of minutes, we just go through these guys' normal lives, and it's pretty boring.
One away from this wall.
There's some hallucinations in there, but it's just nothing to write home about. It's just more cheap jump scares, exposition dumps, which, like, the exposition dumps aren't even good. However, we do get flashbacks to the opening scene, which is good, because that was fun to watch. We see the man from the beginning massacre, as he tries to Kurt Cobain himself, but unfortunately he ran out of bullets. Come on, man, you're always supposed to keep count. When the gun doesn't work, he decides to eat Tide Pods.
Teenagers are putting detergent pods in their mouths.
That's a joke. He drinks Clorox or bleach or, you know, something like that. Something fun. And this is where we get to see the Bye-Bye Man in better lighting. And this time we get to see his little dog, which is the eyes that Elliot saw earlier. Now, the only problem I have with this whole scene is it's just because of another exposition dump. And by the way, I probably should have said this earlier when I said exposition dump before the first 50 other times. Exposition is just when someone tells you what happens in a story. Which I don't know about you, but if you're watching a movie, it's usually better to see, and if you're a director, it's usually better to show than tell. If you've ever taken any film class, they tell you that. And sometimes exposition dumps can be good. However, if you're basing a whole movie off of a guy's lore, and then you just give that lore out through exposition dumps, it's not as fun. Because I'd rather see why this entity became the entity or does the way he does, rather than being told it. And granted, the flashback does show it. It's because Elliot's in a library, doing research about this entity, which you see that a lot in movies, where a character will go to a library to get research and it's just an exposition dump. And much like it, there's also a scary library scene. Scary library. And as Elliot does more research, one, he tells a librarian about the Bye-Bye Man. So dumb choice number 57 by Elliot, because he just got this poor lady involved in something she had nothing to do with. And once Elliot learned more about the Bye-Bye Man, he starts scratching out every single name he could in the library. But you already told the librarian, and plus the Bye-Bye Man is currently in the library.
What are you doing, boy?
This also does explain why the Bye-Bye Man's name was crossed out in the drawer earlier, but that's still dumb. Anyway, the movie continues on from the library scene. What's this? Cheating? I can't believe it! Also, cheap jump scare warning. It's a really bad jump scare, but just letting you know. You know how I said earlier that scare where the Bye-Bye Man just comes out of the robes and like walks towards them, and how that scare felt earned because we saw that beforehand? This one felt completely unearned and just bullshit. And one, the CGI is horrible on this. Just look at the window. Like, you couldn't have just gotten a glass pane with your $6 to $7.4 million. You couldn't have just gotten a glass pane, punched it, and just put it, like, it baffles me. It baffles me how lazy these creators were. And back to the scare itself. Why? Just because the movie got boring so we gotta wake up the audience? Actually, that makes a lot of sense. And in the movie theater and on the video that I have, the sound design is not good. Because I feel like it knows that the scares aren't good, so they heighten up and distort the audio for when it scares so much that it's like those ads on streaming services where you're watching a show and then an ad shows up and it's 10 times the volume as your show. And it scares the hell out of you. And it's like, yeah, it's gonna scare me because it's a loud noise. Was it scary? No. Anyway, there goes his bestest of buds and his girlfriend in the same car. Hey you, did you forget about the emo goth psychic lady? Kim? How dare you? We are finally about to get our first kill of the main characters in the movie. It's insane to me that this horror movie even considered itself a horror movie. I think it's just a bad teen drama that has some sprinkle elements of horror that aren't good. As Elliot and Kim are driving, Kim notices an accident that Elliot doesn't notice once they pass a railroad track. Kim screams at Elliot to stop, and once he does, she runs out of the car screaming and crying, running towards the train tracks. Now we figure out pretty soon that the accident is an illusion, based off camera tricks, even though I feel like the movie's already hammered in the point that illusions are happening. Kim got ran over by a reindeer. And what sucks is they don't even show anything fun. Like, I've covered PSAs, specifically one about a train and kids, and this is pretty much the same thing as that, where it won't show what happens because the PSA is meant to be shown to kids. So obviously it's not going to show a body just explode. But with this movie, we didn't even see anything cool. Like, I wanted to see something more. I get it's PG-13, so she won't just, you know, and I'm fine with that. But throw a ragdoll or do something fun. But anyway, Kim's dead. Elliot's got the bubble guts. And that night at the crime scene, surrounded by ambulances and cops, Elliot gets comforted by his two bestest of friends. It's funny how trauma makes you forget about your friends' infidelity. We then get introduced to our final main character, kind of. Detective Shaw, played by Carrie Ann Moss. And the whole point of her character is just to add more tension to the group that already has so much tension just hammered in because of the cheating. Because the detective was saying that Elliot is actually a suspect in Kim's death, because the conductor reported that Kim was running away from Elliot screaming. But this plotline gets dropped instantly, and we'll get into that in an instant. You know how I've been mentioning that this movie is just awkwardly horny? Through this allegation towards Elliot, this happens.
Shut it!
Huh?
This is an illusion, so like it kind of makes sense why like the horny guy whose only characteristic is sex sees the detective give him a wink and then he winks back. But how we figure out that this is an illusion is because of this scene. The movie is using the fact that the Bye Bye Man can create hallucinations for cheap scares. They don't do anything fun with it. I compared this to It earlier and I'll do it again, but when Pennywise does that to the Losers Clubs and makes a different alter reality, it's at least a fun scene. Like the giant lumberjack scene. That's fun. I don't know if it served a purpose. I enjoyed the hell out of it though. But with the Bye Bye Man, it's just an illusion to be like, woo! Like, are you f***ing... be creative! I don't, like, do something! I'm really struggling at this point. I need to get this video out. I need to get the pain of just the, like, I watched this movie in 2017 when it released. It's 2025. I've held on to this hatred for so long. I need to let it go. After some more tension between Elliot, John, Sasha, and now Detective, because she just had to butt her way in there. Not only because they can't say the Bye Bye Man.
Don't say it, don't think it. You were right.
Quiet.
Because they're starting to learn, finally, after a fucking hour of being told not to say the name, John and Sasha, they go home together. Meanwhile, Elliot gets interrogated. Because the detective thinks that Elliot's a suspect, but the detective says that they found a note from Kim, blaming herself for what she was gonna do. Plus, she said that she was gonna kill everyone else. So that plotline just gets instantly dropped. The whole detective part felt like they realized, that, oh shit, our movie's only 60 minutes long. We need at least 90 minutes for a big screen release. Because this interrogation scene it goes on, and it's literally just, what's going on? I can't say it. I can't say it. What's going on? I can't say it.
What would you do?
Hi, I'm John Quinones with What Would You Do?
And they think they're building up tension because it's like, oh, I can't say it or else everyone's gonna die. But at this point, I don't care if everyone dies. I kind of want everyone to die. But like I said, Elliot gets to go free because Kim supposedly wrote a note. It could have been the Bye-Bye Man, but who cares? For some reason, Elliot's older brother was there. I thought he was there to bail him out, but Elliot drove his own car there and drove it to leave and left his brother Virgil there. All Virgil does is say, hey man, are you alright? Are you alright? And Elliot's like, no, I'm not. Oh yeah, did you forget about Virgil, the like middle-aged man brother who bought everyone alcohol at a college party? Elliot goes home, and when he gets there, he sees Sasha and John just full-on banging. Remember, this movie is PG-13, and how I mentioned shots go on for just a little bit too long where it's uncomfortable, it's the same with this. The movie is so infuriating because it feels the need to hammer in the point of certain things that we already get as the audience. We aren't dumb. We understand that yes, there's a cheating thing going on. The main characters are feeling tensions grow specifically because of the Bye-Bye Man that are rooted in their insecurities based off of their relationship. I get it, but luckily, Elliot just takes a bat and boinks John in the head. Obviously, it's an illusion, because no shit. I still think John deserved it regardless. And Sasha's just like unconscious or something, like just sleeping, and she didn't hear like a skull get cracked with a bat. So now we see Elliot trying to clean up his mess, aka John. Elliot gets a call from the librarian. The librarian ends the phone call and we see that she's holding a bloody knife. And in the background are some bloody bodies, but again, PG-13, so it's just blood soaked on clothes. Dumb Elliot mentioned the Bye-Bye Man to the librarian, so now she's, cursed. She's gonna start murdering people. Not good. So now at the 1 hour and 9 minute mark, shit's finally hitting the fan, and we're building up to the climax. Now when Elliot picks up John to carry his unconscious body, he notices a note, just randomly placed in there. I personally think it's the Bye-Bye Man because of the ending and what this note means. But at the same time, it's so random. Why would John have a note for the address, which we'll find out later is important, but why would he have the note saying, hey, that drawer that has the Bye-Bye Man in it? Why? But either way, Elliot has a note with an address and he gets reminded of that drawer, which he realizes, oh, that says the Bye-Bye Man. So instead of burning it or destroying the wood, he gets the drawer and with the whole thing intact, just throws it. No one's gonna read it. But now Elliot goes to that address that was on the stupid note. Now, does that sound like we just jumped around very quickly? Well, good, because this was in a matter of minutes. Not even minutes. I think like a minute and 30 seconds or something. Elliot just breaks into the house, like the address. Like he knocks once, and then he just opens the door. An old lady who isn't reacting the way she should be reacting is like, what are you doing? And she's just standing on the stairs like normal people do. Like, I always do this. I'm just hanging out. But instead of the lady being petrified or telling him to get the fuck out of my house, she invites him in to talk about the Bye-Bye Man. Now, do you know what that sounds like? Another exposition dump. We fucking love those, dude. So this homeowner starts her exposition dump. She tells Elliot that she was actually the wife of the man that we saw earlier in the opening scene who went on the killing spree. She gives more exposition and just pretty much rehashes what we already know. Because what this lady tells Elliot is the only way of escaping the Bye-Bye Man is by killing everyone who knows about the Bye-Bye Man and then getting rid of himself to make sure no one knows about the Bye-Bye Man. The reason the wife is safe is because the man who went on the murdering spree never told his wife the name. And all of this that I just said, she says to us the viewer, which we already got. Like if you have more than 2 brain cells, which you should have if you go into, how many brain cells are there? Wait a minute. Around 100 billion. Okay, so yeah, if you have more than 2 brain cells, which you have to be 13 or older to watch this movie, so hopefully you do, we don't need to be told exactly what's happening at the end of the movie, when one, you should have explained it the whole movie. But that leads me to my main point. You already said this shit, just in different ways. I think it just goes back to my theory that the directors, the creators of this movie were like, oh, our movie's way too short and bad, so we need to add on filler and filler and filler. It's like Naruto. I tried watching that and I fell asleep. I could care 2 about what they're cooking for dinner, and it takes up 2 episodes. Now I'm getting mad about Nart. But anyway, more talking, just another yap session. But once the lady tells Elliot that he needs to kill everyone that knows about the Bye-Bye Man, she gives him a gun. I thought the movie would have been so much better if he just shot her right there and was like, I'm already the Bye-Bye Man, rah. Just end the movie there. That would have been so much better, and I would have known that you purposely scammed me, but at least I got a kick out of it. Now, I've been saying these characters are dumb this whole movie because 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 32 seconds in, almost 90 minutes, Elliot finally understands the Bye-Bye Man. He understands the concept. It only took the death of his friend, the beating of his other friend, and his girlfriend just going in a coma, or I don't know what she's doing. She just kind of checked out of the movie at this point. So have I. But the reason I say Elliot finally understands the Bye-Bye Man is because he sees the lady that he was just talking to light up in flames, and he doesn't, like, react. He was talking to that lady for about 6 minutes. I just want you to know. And this is like towards the end of the movie, like during the climax. One more thing that I forgot to mention that the lady shared is that the coins that were brought up earlier that I already explained to you is just meant for showing that the Bye-Bye Man or his dog is near. You notice I already told you that? It's because I already got that like right away after I heard the coins and then the Bye-Bye Man showed up. But as Elliot goes back to his home, he's driving on the road and he gets tested again by the Bye-Bye Man. But he knows it's an illusion, so he just drives right through his best friend. Good for you.
Ha! I knew it.
Hey, you should keep your eyes on the road, man. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone watching, have you been waiting for a graphic effect in this horror movie? Well, you're about to finally get it. And I'm not going to censor it because you deserve it. You deserve it after, like, I'm almost recording for 2 hours now. I don't know how long this video is going to be. You deserve it if you're at this point to see some gore. The lady he hit was the librarian who got, like, possessed and killed her family. She was walking in the road with a knife, and, well, you saw what happened.
This my shit. All the girls stomp your feet like this.
This is a nice lesson to not murder your family. And I have to say that this is actually a good effect. I just wish that there was more of, like, this kind of effects in it, instead of, like, a CGI dog. Elliot just leaves the librarian there to die, which there's nothing else he could do, even if there was a chance for her, because she already knows the Bye-Bye Man. And just then, Sasha and John are somehow miraculously waking up at the same time. And now the movie just goes balls to the walls with the illusions, and the editing in it is not good. Because I was generally so confused here, and I'm just going to show it to you how it's edited. You'll see what I mean.
Like to move it, move it.
I totally understand what they're trying to do with this. They're trying to show the different perspectives of each of the characters. It's just the way it was clipped up and edited. It is hard to keep up with. At least for me.
Dumbass!
All in, dreaming.
Maybe you guys kept up with it better than I did. But it just got to the point where it's like, alright, switch. Also, if you get hit by a train, how the hell are you in one piece? I digress. I know, PG-13, and also budget, even though it's, $7 million. More trippy stuff goes down, and the real Elliot finally makes his way inside the house. This is finally it, guys. We finally get some real action in a horror movie. All the play on the illusions have them keep going after each other. John first goes after Sasha with some scissors. And this stabbing is good and bad. Like, the brutality that John uses is pretty good. It feels real, it feels graphic and excessive. And some of the stab wound effects look good. Some of them don't. But still, something's finally happening here. I'm not going to complain too much. Psych, I am. Instead of shooting him, like when he has an open shot, Elliot goes and tackles John. To give himself a challenge before shooting John in the stomach. But, oh, what's that I hear? Bad editing to create a stupid twist that no one cares about? Oh no, he shot his girlfriend Sasha! Oh no, wait, but why is John bleeding? Did he, what the hell? Did you get shot, dude? What happened to you?
I've fallen and I can't get up.
So Elliot was hallucinating that Sasha was John on top of the real John, but he thought that the real John was Sasha, so he like hit off. What, dude? Like, come on. I feel like this movie's trying to be way too smart for what it is.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Cause also with the scenes beforehand, how did Sasha chase John, who was actually, and amidst all the stupid, dumb, bad writing, the CGI dog just shows up. Like, can you fuck off? It just looks so bad. It looks like a wet, bloody version of the lizard from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But worse. However, this scene particularly led to one of my most enjoyable moments in the theater. And I know how jarring that could be to hear after this movie for like, I don't know, like an hour. You hear that? You hear that coin? Oh, shit. Almost the entire theater that I was with at this point, which is at the end of the movie, we were all just laughing. The people who didn't want to watch went and got their refunds. The people who were down to watch to make fun of this movie, like me, stayed. And we were all joking with our buddies. It was one of those movie experiences where people didn't really care if you talked because it was such a bad movie. But when it got to this part particularly, everyone who had coins in their pockets would throw them off to the side because the stairs were tiled. So if you threw the coin over there, it made a loud noise. So when he finally showed up to do his weird thing,
You leave him alone.
the whole theater was just throwing coins on the ground, just making the coin noise because we just thought it was a giant joke. It was so enjoyable because it felt like the whole theater was in on making fun of how bad this movie was. And we weren't yelling in the theater, so like someone in the top row wouldn't have heard anything that the bottom row would have said. We all just in unison, quietly, were like, this movie is shit, with our coins. And there's about 10 more minutes left in the movie. For the next 10 minutes, all you would hear in the theater was just coins dropping every once in a while. It did get to the point where it kind of got annoying, but at the same time, with the movie we were watching, I don't think a lot of us cared. Alright, well that was my fun story. Back to the movie. When the Bye-Bye Man finally fully appears, he's so disappointing. Like, it's just a guy with some weird design, some cuts on his face, some wrinkly fingers, some beige skin. It looks like they were trying to go for uncanny, but they kept too uncanny. I don't know if that's the way to say it, but they kept too similar to us. Like, yeah, he has some scars.
You wanna know how I got these scars? No! Now watch this drive.
Okay, he has blue eyes. Okay, he's bald. Whoa! He's pointing a finger at you. Whoa! Like, it's just nothing scary about him. The name should have spelled this out, that this movie is, like, nothing scary is gonna happen in it. Especially because he's just walking out slowly with his finger out like, I'm gonna touch you.
God, man! You almost got the cheese touch.
And then this scene happens. This is the point where I was considering if this movie was purposely trying to be bad. The Bye-Bye Man shows Elliot what he'll go after, which is his family. Virgil and the daughter, and then like Virgil's wife that we saw for like 5 minutes but then like disappeared for the rest of the movie, which good for her. And you know what? This movie doesn't make any sense, so Virgil and his daughter just randomly show up to the cabin anyway. Why bring your daughter after you knew that Elliot was going through something? Because you're a bad dad. You're a horrible dad. You are a horrible, horrible father. Elliot hears Virgil and his daughter at the door, and he tries to get them to leave.
Go away! Elliot? Go away! No, we're not going anywhere, Elliot.
Uncle, open up!
And they go into an argument until Elliot opens the door just a little bit to talk to Virgil and tell him to actually fuck off.
Elliot, what the hell is going on? Virgil, please!
Virgil takes the hint, aka the blood on his hand, and says, hey, daughter of mine, go back into the truck. And Virgil, being dense, gave that denseness off to his kid. The kid tries to barge into the house with the demon in it, saying, I need a pee, I need a pee.
Get her out of here!
First of all, even if I didn't have a demon in my house, I don't want some child running into my home.
This is my own private domicile and I will not be harassed! Bitch!
Don't run into my home. I'm gonna pick you up and throw you out like a football. But anyway, through this struggle of trying to get them to go away, Elliot almost says the Bye-Bye Man's name. This perks the Bye Bye Man as he's like, oh boy, please say my name, please spread my curse, rah. And this is where we get to see that the dog is eating Sasha. Elliot closes the door on Virgil as the Bye Bye Man throws Sasha's body on the floor for Elliot to see. And the dog had eaten her mouth and eyes, which is why all those jump scares earlier you see like no mouth or no eyes, because that's so clever. Because a dog, why would a dog eat a whole face? It would only go specifically for the eyes and mouth, because that's what wild animals do. I think this was literally just a write-in for like, this is why we had all those like eyeless people. It makes sense now. You just saw that somewhere else and we're like, that's scary, let's do it in this movie. The Bye Bye Man walks down the stairs and you get the soundtrack of the slasher villain in his final climactic scene where he's about to ruin the day and do his big victory. And it's like, hey, you did not earn that whatsoever.
Bye-bye, what is that? Bye.
As he walks closer to Elliot to, do his bidding, Elliot dispenses of himself to ensure that no one can say the name Bye Bye Man to anyone else. Virgil sees the blood splatter and hears the gun and, is crying about it. But then somehow the house just randomly catches on fire. Because you know how the Bye Bye Man can create illusions? Well, apparently now he can just full on mess with reality. Or, someone else started the fire. I don't know who else would. But as Virgil gets into his truck where his daughter is, they drive off, calling 911 for help. Virgil, I'm guessing, is assuming everyone is dead in that house, which he assumed wrong, but we'll get into that in a second. Virgil's daughter says, I went and peed in the forest, and there was some weird drawer over there, and it had some saying in it. And you know what this means? You know what this scene is specifically for? To set up a sequel, and to let the audience know that, hey, the Bye Bye Man's curse is still out there. That's pretty good. Wait, we're not done. We're not done. Again, with the movie's idea of hammering the point in because the audience is too dumb to get our big brain ideas, John, the fuckboy, survives, I think, at least survives long enough to try to say something to Detective Shaw. Obviously, it looks like he's trying to say Bye Bye Man, but it's like, why did you just show us two scenes where we know that the curse is gonna live on? Obviously, it's setting up for a sequel, which thank goodness it never got. And the movie rolls credits before John can fully say the Bye Bye Man. And boy oh boy, you would not know the amount of rage I would withhold in my body if there was a scene after the credits. Luckily there is not. But we did it, everyone. We got through that horrible movie. I've never been married, but I am confident to say that that was worse than divorce and losing the kids in the house and everything.
My wife and I split up.
So that was the movie review. Now we're going to go over the director, the cost, the budget, and all that fun stuff. The Bye Bye Man was released on January 13th, 2017. And yes, that's Friday the 13th because horror movies love to play on the superstition of Friday the 13th. Like the day, not the movie. The Bye Bye Man was directed by Stacy Tidal, an American film director and screenwriter. She was nominated for an Academy Award for a movie Down on the Waterfront in 1993, and has some other well-received films like Let the Devil Wear Black.
On the sauce, you know what I'm saying? Thank you.
Duck. Thanks. That's my gun.
Stacy Tidal would unfortunately pass away in 2017 after being diagnosed with ALS, so may she rest easy. And I know I just shat on the movie that she directed, but I do have some nice things to say about it. Especially because I will stand by the fact that the writers specifically did not help anyone in this movie process. The actors, the directors, just anyone who were involved in this. The writing doomed this movie from the start. The Bye Bye Man's reception was not that great. It did make its money back because the cost of the movie was $6 to $7.4 million. And the Bye Bye Man grossed a little over $22 million in the United States and Canada, and worldwide it grossed over $29 million. So it made its money back and then some. Yet it was critically panned, audiences hated it, and once word of mouth got out there, ticket sales plummeted. Rotten Tomatoes, which I know it's not the most trustworthy site and no one cares about the critics, but they have an option for audience to review, and usually if those are close to the same, you know what type of film you're gonna get. Rotten Tomatoes gave the Bye Bye Man an 18% on its tomato meter, which is from the critics, and on the popcorn meter, which is from the audience, it got around a 22%, so not good. It got a 4.3 out of 10 on IMDb, and a 37 out of 100 on Metacritic. With many reviewers and critics' main problems being how the horror movie The Bye Bye Man pulled tropes from other more successful horror movies just to create a clumsy mess of a horror movie. People also point out the odd edits, the acting, and the writing, even to the point of where people were questioning, was this movie meant for the big screen? And I definitely can tell that it was meant for the big screen based off the production. But everything else, it just seemed like someone pocketed like $5 million worth of cash and left $2 million for the movie. And the reason I brought up the cost again is because with horror movies, it is very easy to make a cheap horror movie that will gross a lot of money. I'll name the obvious examples because it grossed the most amount of money. But in 1978, Halloween was released and was the highest grossing low budget horror film up until the Blair Witch Project. This is all to say that the Bye Bye Man's $6 to $7.4 million should have made this movie a lot better than what it was. And that leads to my final thoughts about this movie. I don't personally think The Bye Bye Man is the worst horror movie of all time. I know, I'm sorry, you got clickbaited. But life's a journey.
The journey is usually the part that you remember anyways.
Please leave a like. I watched this movie more than a human ever should. Which if the number is more than 0, that's more than needed. While The Bye Bye Man has some terrible acting, writing, editing, storytelling, camera work, character decisions, scares, besides a couple thrown in there that were fun. This movie's just bad, dude. There are some fun parts in it, but I'd say it's about like 9 minutes out of 90 minutes that are good. I only really remember it because of my theater experience. However, to defend my point on saying that this movie isn't the worst horror movie of all time, I thought about making a video about a horror movie with the guy from 13 Reasons Why. I said the guy, I can look, what's his name? Dylan Mignette. I hope I said that name right, boss. Where it was a home invasion movie, where like the dad died or something, I don't really remember. So it's just him and his mom, and the only thing I could remember about the movie, not even the title, like besides knowing he was in it, is that his character just ran. And I'm not talking about like ran away from something scary or anything. No, he was like a track athlete, and all he would do with his watch is time himself. Because I remember all he would do, click, time, run. And that was like the whole horror movie. I don't even know what scary thing happened in it. And that's the thing. If a horror movie is forgettable, that is the worst sin a horror movie can commit. Because horror movies have the ability to be so bad that they're fun. I know other movies have the ability, but they're not as easy to do as horror movies. Because you can just fill horror movies in with like kills, a crazy killer, crazy characters. But for a horror movie to be so bad that you don't remember anything about it... Oh, you stink! That's to say, you live, you learn. Most of these actors went on to do better things, so I'm hoping most of the people who worked behind the camera and worked on all the effects, on all the fun stuff, went on to do better things and things that they enjoyed doing. And honestly, all of my yapping and like bitching about this movie doesn't really matter, because it made money. Luckily, they also understood that no one liked it, so they didn't make a sequel. Alright, that's the end of my rambling. If you enjoyed my rambling about the Bye Bye Man, a like really helps out the channel. It helps out with the algorithm and all that fun stuff, but it also just helps me because this is something a bit different from my other videos, because I'm just focusing on one movie thoroughly, and it's not even a good movie. But if you guys like this, just leaving a like lets me know, and I might do something like this in the future. If not, I won't. I'll go back to doing like shorter things, because this is probably going to suck to edit, and I don't know if I'm going to get this out in time. If you've seen The Bye Bye Man, let me know if you enjoyed it or if you didn't enjoy it, and let me know why. And if this is the first exposure to The Bye Bye Man for you, I'm sorry. But also, I hope that my dive into insanity was entertaining along with this bad movie, because this bad movie would probably not entertain you. Alright, well if you're entertained by this face and the words that came out of it, maybe hit that subscribe, because I post every week. Usually something about horror oriented. And with that, I'll see you next week. Bye.
I'm carrying your love with me.